four-time world champions. The nation that invented the machine-like efficiency of tournament football. The country that gave us the 7-1, the miracle of Bern. 3 World Cups in the space of 20 years. Out. Eliminated. Knocked out of the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the last 32. Not by Brazil. Not by France. Not by Argentina. By Paraguay. And the way it happened, the manner of this elimination, is not just a football shock. It is a full-scale national catastrophe with a VAR scandal at its heart that has set the entire footballing world on fire. Jonathan Tah, extra time. Germany leading in injury time of the second period of extra time. Tah rises. He heads the ball into the net. 2-1. Germany are through. The German bench erupts. Nagelsmann punches the air. The German fans in the stadium start the celebration. And then, VAR. The review begins. The referee listens to his earpiece. He walks to the pitchside monitor. He watches the replays. He disallows the goal. Woltemade and Tah adjudged to have fouled Paraguay goalkeeper Orlando Gil in the build-up. Crowd in disbelief. Nagelsmann in fury, shown a yellow card for his protests. Germany denied. The game goes to penalties. And Paraguay, unbelievable, extraordinary, magnificent Paraguay, win the shootout 4-3 as Havertz, Woltemade and Tah all miss from the spot. And here is the thing that makes this story not just dramatic, but genuinely scandalous. ESPN reviewed the VAR decision. Analysts reviewed the VAR decision. And the conclusion was unambiguous. Germany were wrongly denied that goal. The foul on the goalkeeper was not a foul. It was minimal contact. The kind of contact that happens on every corner kick at every level of football. Never called, never punished. Applied with such technical precision by VAR that it canceled what should have been the winning goal in a World Cup knockout match for one of the greatest footballing nations on earth. Welcome to 1998. And today we are talking about the elimination that has shaken world football to its core.
Let me walk you through this match properly, because the full story of Germany versus Paraguay is even more extraordinary than the headline suggests. Germany came into this game as strong favorites. They topped their group. They had looked solid, if not spectacular, in the group stage under Julian Nagelsmann. Organized, defensively disciplined, with real quality in the forward line through Kai Havertz, Florian Wirtz, and Leroy Sané. Paraguay were respectful opponents. A South American side with pace on the counter, physicality in midfield, a real team spirit. But nobody outside of Asunción was giving them a serious chance of pulling off this upset. The first half was tight. Paraguay scored first. Julio Enciso, who had already been one of the players of the tournament in the group stage, heading in from a cross to give the underdogs a shock lead. Germany responded. Kai Havertz, composure personified, glanced a header into the net to level at 1-1 before halftime. Game on. The second half belonged to Germany in terms of possession and pressure. They pinned Paraguay back. They created chances. Havertz had a header saved by a brilliant stop from goalkeeper Orlando Gil. The fullbacks pushed forward constantly. The midfield dominated the territory battle. But that final ball, that cutting pass, that moment of clinical decision-making in the final third, simply would not come. Germany controlled. Paraguay defended with everything they had. Extra time. And then the Jonathan Tah moment that changed everything. Woltemade and Tah contests for the ball in the 6-yard box. His arm makes contact with the goalkeeper. In real time, normal speed, it is the kind of wrestling and jostling that happens on every set piece in the history of the game. The goalkeeper goes down. The ball drops to Tah. Tah heads home. 2-1. Then VAR. Then the disallowance. Then the collapse. Then penalties. Then the worst night in German football since 2018.
Now I need to talk about the VAR decision itself. Because this is not a matter of opinion. This is a matter of fact. And the facts are damning. FIFA issued a clarification after the match. They confirmed that the goal was disallowed because Woltemade and Tah was adjudged to have fouled goalkeeper Orlando Gil.
They stood by the decision. But ESPN's VAR review team, who analyze every significant decision at this tournament with frame-by-frame accuracy, reached a different conclusion. Their verdict was explicit. Germany were wrongly denied the goal. The contact between Anton and the goalkeeper was minimal, incidental, the kind of physical contest that is a standard part of aerial duels in football and is not, under any consistent application of the laws, a foul. Nagelsmann, a man who is usually composed, articulate, measured in his public comments, lost it completely in his post-match press conference. He called the disallowed goal a scandal. He said, and I quote directly, "In my opinion, this foul was not a real foul. It was actually a joke that his goal was disallowed." He was shown a yellow card on the pitch for his protests when the decision was made. A manager yellow-carded for reacting to a refereeing decision that his own players, his entire bench, and the majority of the watching world agreed was wrong. And Havertz, one of Germany's most experienced international players, spoke afterward with a rawness that was devastating to watch. "My second World Cup, and we've blown it twice. The only thing I can say is I'm sorry. We're all disappointed. We had big plans for this year. To let ourselves down again like this isn't a nice feeling." Blown it twice. 2 World Cups, 2 crushing, gut-wrenching early exits. Germany, 4-time world champions, a nation built on tournament football, now in a genuine identity crisis about what they are and where they are going. And that crisis starts right now.
Now, let us talk about Paraguay, because in all the noise about Germany's exit, in all the VAR controversy, in all the Nagelsmann fallout, Paraguay deserved their moment, their absolute, spectacular, history-making moment. Paraguay are ranked outside the top 30 in world football. They qualified for this World Cup through the South American qualifying campaign. A brutal 10-team round robin over 2 years that tests every squad to its absolute limit. They are not blessed with superstar names. They do not have a Messi or a Neymar or an Mbappe. What they have is organization, determination, togetherness, and a goalkeeper in Orlando Gil who was absolutely magnificent throughout this match. Gil made save after save in regulation time and extra time. His stop from Havertz's header alone would have won him the Man of the Match award in most games at this tournament. And then in the penalty shootout, Paraguay were ice cold. Jose Canale, not a name most football fans outside of South America would recognize before this tournament, stepped up to take Paraguay's decisive penalty with the kind of composure that world-class players spend entire careers trying to find. He smashed it home. Paraguay were through. And the scenes that followed were extraordinary. Players collapsed onto the pitch. Staff rushed from the bench. The Paraguayan fans in the stadium, outnumbered, outpowered, completely defying the odds, went absolutely berserk. And back in Asunción, back in Paraguay itself, the president of the country took to social media within minutes to announce that tomorrow would be a national public holiday. A national public holiday declared overnight because Paraguay beat Germany at the World Cup. Can you imagine? Can you actually imagine the scale of that joy? The collective pride of an entire nation erupting in the middle of the night because their football team, their humble, hard-working, underdog football team, had just defeated one of the most famous names in the history of the sport. That is what football is. That is what this tournament is. And no amount of VAR controversy can diminish what Paraguay achieved on that night. They owned every single second of that celebration.
But now we have to ask the hard question. The question that Germany cannot avoid. The question that Nagelsmann, the German Football Association, and German football fans are going to be wrestling with for months, possibly years, after this tournament. What is wrong with Germany? Because this is not a one-off bad night. This is the second consecutive World Cup at which Germany have suffered an early, shocking elimination. In 2018, they went out in the group stage. In 2022, they went out in the group stage again. At Euro 2024, on home soil, a tournament Germany hosted and desperately wanted to win, they reached the quarter-final but were eliminated by Spain in a genuinely exciting match. And now, 2026, they go out in the last 32 to Paraguay on penalties after being wrongly denied a winning goal by VAR. The trajectory is clear. Germany are no longer the automatic tournament machine they were for 6 decades. The era of Klose, Lahm, Schweinsteiger, Müller, Neuer, the golden generation that won in Brazil in 2014, that era is gone. And what has replaced it is talented but fragile, individually gifted but collectively inconsistent. A squad with world-class players, Wirtz, Havertz, Sané, Kimmich, who have not yet found the tournament DNA that made their predecessors so reliably formidable. Nagelsmann's future is now in serious doubt. Since the veterans left after Euro 2024, multiple analysts have pointed to the same fundamental problem. The team has lacked cohesion and a clear identity. They can play beautiful football. They showed that in patches throughout this tournament. But when the pressure arrives, when the knockout stakes are highest, something breaks. 3 missed penalties in 1 shootout against Paraguay at a World Cup. That is not bad luck. That is a mental fragility that needs to be addressed urgently. And the German football system, one of the most developed and resource-rich in the world, now faces a genuine rebuilding moment. Not a cosmetic refresh, a fundamental rethink of who Germany are as a footballing nation and what they want to become.
Let me bring it all together, because Germany versus Paraguay at the 2026 FIFA World Cup is not just a shock result. It is 3 stories colliding in one extraordinary night. It is the story of VAR, broken, overreaching, destroying a legitimate goal in extra time of a World Cup knockout match, and confirming every fear that football's technological revolution has gone too far. ESPN said it clearly. Germany were wrongly denied. The disallowance was wrong. And a 4-time world champion paid the ultimate price for a refereeing error committed not by a human official, but by a machine. It is the story of Paraguay, underdogs, overachievers, a team representing a nation of 7 million people that had absolutely no business defeating Germany on this stage and absolutely earned every moment of their incredible victory. A nation that celebrated with a public holiday, a keeper named Orlando Gill who may have played the game of his life, a penalty taker named Jose Canali who held his nerve when everything was on the line. And it is the story of Germany, a football superpower in decline, searching for an identity, losing their 2nd consecutive World Cup before the tournament has even reached the quarterfinals, with questions about their manager, their mental strength, their tournament DNA, and their footballing future that are now impossible to ignore and impossible to delay. This is what the World Cup does. It accelerates everything. It compresses years of underlying problems into 90 minutes, or in Germany's case, 130 minutes plus a penalty shootout. It forces nations to confront the truth about where they are. And the truth for Germany right now is uncomfortable. The era of German machine-like tournament inevitability is over, and the rebuilding starts today. This is 1998, your daily home for the real stories of World Cup 2026. Subscribe now, hit the bell, drop your thoughts in the comments. Was the Tah goal a foul? Can Nagelsmann survive? Will Paraguay reach the semifinals? I want every opinion you have got. This is World Cup 2026, every day. See you tomorrow.